In today's video, I want to talk about the glamorization of sex work. The term glamorizing, glamorize is thrown around so much, particularly in the sex work TikTok space. And it's something I want to have a conversation with. Some of you guys may agree with my take on this, some of you may not, but I think it's an important topic. This is definitely something that's been thrown at me before, particularly when my page still showed money count videos and things like that. It was left, right, and center, these comments. You're glamorizing, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're encouraging young girls into the industry, so let's just have a conversation about it. It's not just me that was a target of these kind of comments. I've also seen these comments left on Jessica's content. I have seen them on a couple of other creators on TikTok like Indian Babe. There's an assortment of girls with similar comments, Kayla East being one as well, okay? And I want to discuss what goes into glamorizing, right? I think simply recounting things like money counts on its own is not the glamorization of the industry. Strippers have been counting money online for a very long time. It's all over TikTok, it's all over YouTube as well. And I think as long as those money counts are truthful and not fake, I think that is ethical, in my opinion, okay? I don't think that it is ethical to produce money count videos that extort the value and make it look like you are making more money than you are, or for example, claiming you're a dancer and only dancing and you are making that much money, but you're not disclosing to your audience that in the back room you are doing extras or whatever the case is. I do think that that is unethical. However, I don't think that is glamorization. Why do I think this is unethical? It's lying to your audience firstly, and not giving the whole picture may be what is encouraging somebody to enter the industry, okay? Is it an influencer's responsibility? I don't really think so. Maybe to an extent. At the end of the day, it's their page and it's their content. And if they want to post something, they can. It is freedom of speech, freedom to post whatever. I think for a lot of girls, it is hard to understand that somebody else may be doing that well within the industry. For example, when Kayla East came on TikTok and started doing these money count videos, there was a lot of people saying that she was faking these money counts. And at first, when people started on that train, I was like, okay, maybe they're right. If this many people are saying it, maybe they're right. But I took a step back for a moment and I thought about it, okay? People were saying that no one would pay $1,500 an hour for her. But my rates with bareback blowjob extra for an out call for an hour is $1,300. I know firsthand people pay that for me, and I am not Kayla East. Fair enough, she doesn't do bareback blowjob, but you get where I'm going. If I can charge the rates I can, why would they not pay more for her? And you may wonder, why is she able to charge more? You've been doing full service longer. You need to understand the power of marketing, okay? And this is a big thing. A lot of us are successful because of the exposure that we get from our social media platforms. For me, TikTok is a massive one. Majority of my bookings come from TikTok. I can only imagine how much reach somebody like Kayla had even when she started that TikTok, because she had previously been promoting her OnlyFans content and doing so much in that space, collabs, working with famous porn stars for 4 years. Okay, I'm sure that's what she says. It's been 4 years that she has been creating an online brand and image before she started that TikTok. So when she started escorting, she already had so many people who recognized her, so many people who knew who she was, and she had previously been on TikTok and previously had viral videos on TikTok years prior. She had a lot of brand awareness. Why am I focusing on this? Because it is an important part of working out whether somebody is telling the truth when it comes to their money count. This is something that's never going to be foolproof, and we're never going to know for 100% whether someone is lying or telling the truth. I guess you can just determine that by the character. Have they lied about things before? Does it always just seem outlandish? Do they ever share that there was a bad day? Do they ever share that there was a week they only saw 2 clients? Maybe take that into consideration. But please understand that the reason she makes that much money and the reason why I make the money that I make doing full service is because I have put so much time and energy into my social media, okay? Sure, it can be partly the way that I look. Sure, it can be the niche that I hit. Sure, it can be my chosen marketing. But it is all of this, the YouTube, the fucking TikTok, the fucking Twitter, everything, all of the work that I do is why I make that much. The average person in the industry coming in is not making that kind of money. That's not the reality for majority of workers. And I've always been transparent about that. I have always put, some weeks I make $900. Some weeks there's no fucking work. Some weeks I get 1 hour. That is the truth. That is the honest truth. Some weeks it might be an insane amount of money, and some weeks it is 1 stinking hour. Some days I sit there with my available now on for 12 hours and I don't get a single booking, not even a half an hour. Some days I sit there and I am booked for 5 hours within a half an hour of switching that thing on. It is up and it is down, and there are waves to it. What I think steps into glamorization is never showing the bad, never explaining that there are bad nights, never explaining that sometimes it sucks. Sometimes you sit there for a whole week and you get 1 hour, and you sat and allocated 60 hours to be available for work and you got 1 stinking hour. Some weeks you spend so much money boosting your ads and paying for all that extra promo to appear on extra pages and all of that to get nothing. Some weeks you have all these pre-bookings and they all cancel, okay? That is the honest truth of the industry. I think glamorization occurs when you show these money counts but never discuss the negative, okay? Never discuss that something has happened, somebody was rude even, and we'll get into that in a second, but never discussing that the money is not always that high. Everyone has bad weeks, even me, even Kayla, etc. Okay, it is not just always up here. Some weeks are here, some weeks are here, some weeks are here. That's just the way of the world. Now, moving on to what I just briefly touched on, okay? Not sharing the bad is not just the quiet weeks. It is also the trauma, the negative experiences that are involved in this industry. I think painting it in a way that's like, I always fuck them, they don't fuck me, I do all the writing, oh, I would never suck a dick without a condom on, it's disgusting. All of these kind of things, like putting yourself on this pedestal, is feeding into glamorization. It really is. It is like, no, they don't ever get control in the situation. I'm the one fucking them. I'm in control. I'm the one who rides. I don't even let them fuck me. That's not the truth, baby. That's not the truth. And always saying that the clients didn't want to have sex, that's also glamorization. It does happen. It does. It's happened to me. I've got a few clients that have been like that, sure. But it is not every second booking. And you pretending that that's the truth, and every second client you're not even fucking, or every single story time you do is that he nutted in 10 seconds, that is glamorizing, because that is not the truth. That is not the fucking truth, okay? It is not always easy. Sometimes it is easy, sometimes it is not. The reality is we are paid for our time and to do the hanky-panky, to have fucking sex. That is it, okay? This is not for princesses. There is a lot of danger that comes into these kind of categories. There is a lot of danger that comes along with working in this industry. There are a lot of risks to your health. That is a real risk as well. And there is a lot of risk to expose yourself to substances, addictions, to get through these kinds of things. And I guess we can elaborate on that a little bit more. I do not know many sex workers. I would say I know a handful of sex workers who have never had a bad experience in this industry. And I still wonder every day how they have never had these things happen to them, because the odds of these things happening are so goddamn high. And I think your position of privilege impacts your likelihood to encounter these things, okay? I had the most horrible things, frequency of horrible things happen to me when I worked in brothels, which is at this end of the price point. Privately, I work at this end of the price point, but I have still had things happen. I have, in all honesty, especially when I started out before my social media, I have taken bookings that I probably should not have, because you could tell that they were dangerous before I took them. Did I take them anyway? Yes, because I needed the money. That is the truth of it. That is the reality for a lot of girls. Most girls are not in a position to pick and choose what they will and won't do because they know they need to eat, they need to pay their rent, okay? They may not always be able to take only bookings from lovely gentlemen like I see now, the guys who are respectful, the guys who are polite, the guys who pre-book, right? For a lot of these girls, they are living on call majority of the day because they have to take the booking when it comes through. So their life is being available. That's not glamorous. That is not time freedom. That is it being out with friends and then being like, sorry, I've got to go. I've got a booking. I need to pay my rent. That is the industry reality to a lot of girls. Not all, but a lot. A lot of the times to make big money, short notice, they are party bookings. There is a lot of drug use involved in seeing escorts. A lot of the guys party. There are providers, especially those who are very established or possibly have other jobs and only do this part-time, who do not take party bookings. You have every right to not take them. I'm not telling you that you have to. But the reality and the non-glamorous side of the industry is that most of us do take these. Most of us are just accustomed to it. I'm not in a position where I have to anymore, but do they bother me? No, because this is what I have been doing for 3 years and I'm just so used to it. For you, seeing money counts, maybe not doing any further digging, which is your fault, not that creator's, in my opinion, and coming into the industry thinking that you're always going to have these lovely gentlemen who arrive with gifts, who pre-book, who tip, who are completely sober, that is just not the reality for the majority of workers. Due to the societal stigma surrounding sex work and most of society seeing us as outcasts, less than human, easy targets, even in a place like Australia, Brisbane, Australia, where it is completely decriminalized, we still face these stigmas. This makes us an easy target for somebody who enjoys hurting us, enjoys hurting women, enjoys hurting anybody really. It could be male workers, it could be non-binary workers, it can be trans workers, whatever the case is, they get off on hurting us. And this is a common thing. We are the easiest victims. Why do so many serial killers have a history of booking and hurting sex workers before they actually kill civilians? Because generally they start with the sex workers because they know the media and the news and everything like that is not going to give a fuck. The public, when they call for information, they don't care as much when it is a sex worker. And that is the reality. That is the non-glamorous side of this industry. And it's hard to talk about. It's hard to admit to ourselves. But I think most of us realize that that is the truth. If you're coming into the industry thinking that you are going to be seen like somebody like Kayla East, who is loved by so many people despite what she does for work, that is not the reality for most of us, okay? It's really not. We're not seen that way, and it's great. It's so good for our community to have somebody like her, who is being loved by the masses, adored by the masses. It's great for all of us. Whether you want to see it that way or not, it is. She's being seen as human. People worship the ground that she walks on. It is bringing light to all of us. But right now, there's not a lot of sex workers getting that kind of respect from the public, okay? So the reality and the non-glamorous side of it is that we are outcasts. We are outcast by society. We are discriminated against. We are easy targets. We are more likely to be the target of things like serial killers or rapists, that kind of thing. We are easier to get to. We are easy access. And for a lot of workers, they may have trust issues with police and things like that, so they may never report what happens to them. I think it becomes glamorization when you are never mentioning the dark sides, the bad sides to your audience ever. It is just big stacks of money, designer items, gifts, extravagant story times, flying first class. That is where I think glamorization comes in. That is what it is in my mind. That is how I see it. You guys can let me know if you feel the same. I understand that we don't owe the public trauma porn, which is, if that's a new term for you, telling our graphic assaults, graphic rapes, graphic trauma stories, we don't owe that to the public, okay? We don't owe coming on and telling those stories like I do on my pages, my TikTok, my YouTube, all that sort of thing. We don't owe that, and neither do those other creators. They don't owe you that, okay? It's very hard to post that sort of thing and be so vulnerable about an experience when the comments are always, well, you should have done this, you should have done that, blah, blah, blah. So much victim blaming, okay? I can understand why they don't want to put themselves out there like that. And I'm not saying that they need to go in detail about their trauma, but I completely disagree with creators in our space making statements like sex work is not dangerous. That is glamorization to me. It is dangerous work. And if you as a creator are making statements like that and ignoring the voices of those around you, talking openly about their traumas, you're still saying sex work is not dangerous. Baby, it is. It is. Okay? If it wasn't dangerous, good God, there would be so many more girls doing it. But majority of women, majority of people are not cut out to handle this kind of trauma. Being assaulted and going into another booking and the client never knowing something else happened to you. Being able to split like that. Being able to compartmentalize the trauma and come back to it later. That is a skill set that not everyone has, okay? And I do not understand the need to say that sex work is not dangerous, because that is the biggest glamorization of them all. That is 100 times worse than counting money that somebody made. Everyone is well aware that those of us with social media followings are making good money. A majority of people are also aware that those at the bottom of the food chain are not making that kind of money, okay? They might be lucky to make $2,000 a week on a good week for a lot of workers, okay? 2,000 Australian, we're talking Australian dollars, not USD, not anything else. That's on a good week. There are workers who work all week and make $300 in brothels. That's a normal thing, or nothing for the entire week. Painting sex work as a combination of things. Fast, easy money, not dangerous, luxurious lifestyle, always being treated perfectly by clients, gifts, dinners, etc., being flown first class. It's the combination of these things that is glamorization in my mind. Showing these elements, but also showing, both sides of the coin is not glamorization. That is the accurate representation of the industry, of your experiences. What happens is if you come online and use your platform to make statements like sex work is not dangerous, sex work is not inherently dangerous, sex work is no more dangerous to other lines of work, these kinds of statements, right? They are encouraging young women to pursue this career, because the main fucking drawback to not being a sex worker is the danger involved in it. And when you are dismissing or pretending that part of it doesn't exist, okay, you're saying that that's not real, okay, that doesn't exist for me, so it doesn't exist for any workers. They are then just seeing the money counts, the designer items, the first class flights, the gifts from clients, the story times about this lovely guy, okay? They're only seeing and absorbing that. And that is glamorizing. That is glamorizing, because it is not the reality. So essentially, to sign off this video, what I want to say is, if you are somebody who has ended up on this video, who was thinking about coming into the industry and for some reason this has popped up for you, please know that there are two sides to the coin. There is a lot of darkness within this industry, and if you are not a very specific personality type, I don't think you're going to be able to handle it. You have to be able to go through something traumatic and bounce back from it. You have to be built like that to make it long term in this industry. And most people aren't. That's why so many workers come and go so rapidly. They last a year and they are gone. It is not an easy industry. Despite what men want to say in the comments, all they do is lay on their back. No, it's not easy work, and it's easy to understand how and why this industry can break women, and why there are so many women after they finish their time up in the industry, retire from the industry, talking about how much it traumatized them, because it's dangerous. Things happen, and if you don't know how, if you don't have the tools already to help yourself get through those things, it's going to be really hard when you come out the other end. Are you working on things when they happen? Are you processing them? Or are you resorting to substances or drinking away the pain like I was for most of my career? Have you actually taken a second to be sober and think about what's happened? You know, you have to hold space for that. You have to hold space for those feelings and accept what has happened. Otherwise, I think the industry will eat you alive. I think it will. And that's the not so glamorous part of it. Anyway, I hope this has been insightful to somebody, and that's my take on it. Other creators can harp on about how it's not dangerous and we're all trying to scare everyone as much as they want, but I'm telling you right now, swear it on my life, that is the truth. It is a dangerous fucking line of work, and any horror story you have ever seen me tell is the God's honest fucking truth. It is, swear on my life, it is true. That shit really does happen, and much, much worse. I have heard all kinds of stories, much, much more severe than mine. So yes, I hope you have enjoyed my ramble, and I guess that's it for me for tonight. I hope you guys have enjoyed.